Hey guys, it's Sim and this is Pro Wrestling Unlimited. So this past Friday night on Friday Night SmackDown, we had night 1 of the WWE draft. We saw 27 wrestlers drafted during Raw and 5 more drafted during Talking Smack. Now when looking at who was drafted where, it led me to start thinking of, well, how do these draft picks impact Monday's draft picks and who's eligible to be drafted on Monday? So let's tell you not only who I think will be drafted where based off of picks during SmackDown, but also some of the picks I've been told about from a couple of sources that are likely to happen as well. Disclaimer, remember, Vince McMahon, just because we think all this stuff is going to happen, just because people in the company think all these things are going to happen, there are possibilities that Vince changes his mind going into the show. So first off, I do believe that Sami Zayn will be drafted to SmackDown, or should I say, stay on SmackDown. With the Hurt Business being drafted to Monday Night Raw, that leaves Bobby Lashley, the US Champion, on Raw, so I think with the US Championship staying on Raw, the IC title stays on SmackDown. Also going to SmackDown, I think the Street Profits move over to the Blue Brand for a couple of different reasons. First off, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods, the SmackDown Tag Team Champions, have been drafted to Raw. Also, Montez Ford's wife, Bianca Belair, was drafted to SmackDown. Typically, they like to keep married couples together, so that's why I think the Street Profits go to SmackDown. Raw gets the SmackDown Tag Champions. SmackDown gets the Raw Tag Team Champions. As far as Raw does go, I also believe that, well, R-Truth, the 24/7 champion, will be staying on Monday Night Raw. With Drew Gulak being drafted to Monday Night Raw and him being enthralled in the 24/7 championship stuff over the last couple of weeks, I think WWE has been happy with those segments and they keep it going. Speaking of the 24/7 championship and those 24/7 championship segments, Akira Tozawa is likely to be staying on Raw as well to continue his stuff with Drew Gulak and R-Truth. Also, I do believe that Bayley will be staying on SmackDown, the SmackDown Women's Championship. Asuka was drafted to Monday Night Raw. The Raw Women's Championship is staying on the Red Brand. So, they need a Women's Champion on SmackDown. But here's the thing. I was told over the weekend, actually, I was told after SmackDown on Friday that Vince has contemplated moving Bayley to Monday Night Raw. And you go, but how? How do you move Bayley to Raw if she's a SmackDown Women's Champion? Spoiler alert, Sasha wins the title at Hell in a Cell. Sasha goes into her third Hell in a Cell. She's never won in Hell in a Cell before. She beats Bayley for the title. Bayley goes to Monday Night Raw. Sasha stays on SmackDown, SmackDown Women's Champion. Now, speaking of SmackDown Women's Championship and possible contenders, we have also been told that it is very likely that Charlotte Flair moves over to SmackDown. Charlotte Flair is somebody that they feel when you need to freshen something up, you move Charlotte, and she starts a new program on the other show. I think out of all the women that have been positioned as a top female, Charlotte has moved the most in drafts and superstar shakeups. Also, I do feel with Charlotte moving over to SmackDown, that means you got to move Andrade to SmackDown. We know that Andrade's got to go where Charlotte goes because last year there was a really big to-do about all that. Also, I do think that Andrade moves to SmackDown to keep him away from Angel Garza. Angel Garza is currently out with a slight quad injury, and we already know that the two will not remain as a tag team and that WWE has actual plans, at least from what I've heard, for Angel Garza, so you keep him away from Andrade so those two don't accidentally get put back together. We've also been told that Sheamus is likely to be moving to Monday Night Raw. If Drew McIntyre retains the WWE Championship against Randy Orton in Hell in a Cell, well, Drew's going to need another heel that he can defend that title against, and there's really no big heels on Raw that Drew hasn't faced yet. So I think moving Sheamus over there does make sense. Plus, Sheamus wrapped up his feud with Big E last Friday on SmackDown, so that's another thing that they put a bow on so Sheamus can leave. Speaking of challengers for Drew McIntyre in the WWE Championship, it has also been reported and told to us that Bray Wyatt / The Fiend is most likely getting drafted over to the Red Brand. Bray Wyatt moved over to SmackDown last year in the draft. Now, they're going to move him back. Now, if you move The Fiend over to Monday Night Raw, well, you gotta move Alexa Bliss. The Fiend and Alexa Bliss have been enthralled with each other over the last couple of weeks. So I want to say maybe the last month. So really, moving The Fiend without Alexa Bliss would really kill all that character, or I guess you could say evolution, that they've been doing with Bliss over the last month or so. So again, if you move The Fiend, you gotta move Alexa. It has been told to us by one source within the company that Kevin Owens is very likely to be moved over to SmackDown. Kevin Owens has really done more in his career on SmackDown, I feel, than he has on Monday Night Raw. So really, to me, SmackDown is the better fit for Kevin Owens. I mean, he's been the US champion over there, and he had his infamous feud with Shane McMahon. And finally, it has been told to us that Braun Strowman is very likely to be moving over to Monday Night Raw. We have seen Braun Strowman on Raw multiple times recently with the Raw Underground stuff, and then last week, when there was no Raw Underground, he did take on Keith Lee, so that is another move we have been told that is very likely Braun Strowman to Monday Night Raw. So with that, those are all the draft picks for tonight that we are predicting and have been told that, well, this could happen. If we do hear anything else leading up to tonight's night 2 of the WWE Draft on Monday Night Raw, we'll have it for you right here on Pro Wrestling Unlimited. But that's going to do it for this episode. Remember to comment below, like and share this video, like us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and subscribe right here on YouTube.